Hey guys, Pren here. We're shifting gears now onto the Harley FXR, 1990 FXR. Basically, I'm going to change all the tins. I kind of want it to look like a retro 70s type of chopper, but I still want it to handle like an FXR. We'll see how it goes. Got the sissy bar, big sissy bar. I'm going to hopefully make my own king and queen seat. At least the foaming, the frame, I might send it out then to get wrapped in leather, but we'll see how it goes. So let's get on with it. So here's the Harley. It's an FXR 1990. First thing we're gonna do is swap out these shocks. I got some better ones. And in order to do that, we have to support the body or the frame's weight separate from the suspension. So I have another jack under there that I'm going to use to make sure the frame doesn't drop down so I can pull the shocks off and put the new ones on. I don't know what this tank's from, but I like it better than the original. So I do have to do some rust cleaning inside it. So I will show you guys how I do that. And then we'll start wiring everything up, hopefully. And actually I'm going to paint that and the fender. This fender is black. I had some tins that have some ghost flames on it, but I'm not sure if that's the color scheme I want to. I actually want to do something like a little bit of a root beer color or something. And hopefully she'll fire and everything will be all right. But this is a new series now on the Harley. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so I got the frame jacked up. There's no tension now on these springs. I'm going to pull the springs out now. All right, guys, two things I wanted to show. Right now I'm taking the upper shock bolt out. One thing I learned from Tony's garage is always just bounce your palm against the wrench. This way, if you put direct force on it, consistently, it could snap the bolt. I doubt this one would break because it's so massive, but just in general, bounce it so it's tension on, tension off, and it should you shouldn't break any bolts that way. And the other thing I wanted to show you, I'm not sure how many people work on Harleys that are going to be watching this, but this is kind of interesting, this bolt here. So it goes through, and this is from the other side, it goes through the top of the shock, but then on the back side of it, to hold it in, it has another bolt that actually threads into this this bolt. So you have to kind of loosen them both at the same time, or hold the big end and then undo this back one. So it's kind of like that. So right now I have the wrench on the back end of that shock bolt, the smaller nut that's keeping everything together. And on this side of the bike, on the left side of the bike, there's actually the wiring to the light, so it's a little harder. You have to push the wiring up to get the wrench on correctly. So now I'm gonna go ahead and twist the bolt out and unloosen this from that smaller bolt that's holding everything together. So here we got the nut out from the back. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this out and loosen the top end of the spring so it could swing freely, and then we'll do the bottom and remove the spring totally. Actually, guys, one thing, I'm going to actually keep this bolt in the way it is right now. It's loose enough for me to take the fender out, but it's gonna still, because sometimes the jacks, they kind of lower over time. I don't know how long this is gonna take, so I'm just gonna keep this in there to kind of keep the frame at a rise. And I'll do one side, then once I get the new shock in on that side, then I'll remove this fully and replace this one after I put the fender in. Hope that made sense. This bottom bolt's stuck pretty good. I even tried a little impact on it and I couldn't break it free, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a ton of force on it to get it off. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna hit it with like a BFH or I'm going to I do have a compressor with a stronger impact gun, but I'll probably, or maybe even a longer pipe, we'll see, but I'm gonna get it off. So this thing's turning into be quite a battle here. In order to get a wrench on the back side of the nut that's holding this on, there's really no clearance here. So what I'm going to do now is take off this bracket here, just so I can attack it from this end, put the wrench back there, and then continue with my BFH here to try and break that free. All right, guys, just originally I was just going to move this bracket, but this is pretty stuck on there, so I removed the bottom bracket bolt for the chain guard, and now I'm just going to remove the chain guard in its entirety. So now I've taken the chain guard off, and just one thing that I do, I don't know if other people have better techniques, but I just tape everything together so I know which side the washers go on or shims, etc. And so I don't also lose the bolt. So I'm going to put that bolt through that hole and then use some painter's tape and just keep everything together. That's how I like to do it anyways. So I finally got it out. This was the nut in the back that's holding the this bolt in on the bottom side of the spring. And eventually it was the breaker bar that helped me get it loose. I did the same thing though that Tony's Garage kind of taught me, just to bounce it. Don't just put direct pressure on it. You could snap something. So finally that's out though. So we have our shocks off now. Now I'm going to remove the rest of the bolts for the fender. There were two in here, I believe, underneath. I know I didn't record that because I had done that maybe like a year ago. But anyways, there's one more bolt back here. Then we're going to disconnect the wiring for the brake light and the turn signals, take it off, and then I do have the rear fender painted, but it didn't really come out that good, so I might go over doing that again. And like I said, I'm not really sure about the paint scheme yet, but we'll see how it goes. Guys, I lied. I had one more bolt in here that I forgot about, so I'm going ahead and taking that bolt out. It does require a wrench in the back as well, so I can get these chrome pieces out, because I am putting a sissy bar in there, a pretty big one, and I bought the brackets off of eBay, but they actually go behind this, I believe. So that's how I'm going to take these off, and anyways I have to change the fender anyway, so they would have came out anyways then. It's a lot of anyways. Getting that front bolt out was a real nightmare with the tire on. So what I did is, while it was since I unbolted the sides here of the fender, I put a piece of like a roll of tape underneath to lift the fender as high as possible so I could squeeze my hand in there. And I used one of these wrenches to get in there and then loosen it. So now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the tail light wiring. I've taken off these two bolts for the bottom piece of the light. And now I'm taking off, I don't know if you guys can see, these three bolts over here. So I can get this whole thing off. Alright guys, so we got the license plate holder and the light off. I'm not really sure if I undid the light bulb correctly or not, but in either case I'm going to rewire that. So now I'm going to just pull this wire out of the fender and then completely remove the fender. Okay, so we got the back fender off now. I have the tins, I'm just collecting them there, and then eventually I'm gonna throw them on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. And this is actually the fender that's gonna go on it. but I still have to clean it up and decide on a kind of like a paint scheme, or I just might keep it flat black just to make it easier. I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm gonna call it there for tonight. Real quick about the lift, just in case anybody's wondering, it's actually a quick jack under there that I use for my cars when I'm working on them, but there's a video of a guy that made this, basically this wooden platform, and adapted it for a motorcycle, so I copied that. I'll put his video down on the link, and it worked out really good. I just actually raised it a little bit because I'm 6'3", and bending over when it was at its lower setting was kind of hurting my back, so now I got it as high as possible, and it's a lot easier on the back. So if anybody has a quick jack, this is it's a really good modification, and you can just take it off when you want to use the quick jack for the car again. All right, everybody, thank you.